please. Just one more year. I promise I'll be the wife you need me to be." Grayson Mitchell stood in his penthouse, staring at the divorce papers his wife had just signed. At 33, he was the CEO of Mitchell Enterprises, a self-made millionaire who'd built his empire from nothing after losing his parents in a car accident at 19. He'd raised his younger sister, Autumn, alone, working 3 jobs while finishing college. 3 years ago, he'd married Claire Ashford, a socialite from old money. It had been arranged by their families for business purposes, but Grayson had hoped love might grow. It hadn't. Claire had tried, genuinely tried, but she'd fallen in love with someone else, a musician named Daniel. She'd come to Grayson in tears, begging for understanding. "I don't want to hurt you," she'd whispered, "but I can't keep pretending. I love him, Grayson. I'm so sorry." He signed the papers without anger. How could he blame her for wanting real love? But there was one problem. Grayson's grandmother, Eleanor Mitchell, was dying. She had weeks, maybe days. Her final wish was to see Grayson happily married. She didn't know about the divorce yet, and the shock could kill her faster. "I need to find someone," Grayson told his sister that night, "just for a few weeks, until... Grandma." Autumn's eyes filled with tears. "She's been asking about Claire. She wants to see her." The next evening, Grayson stayed late at his office. The night janitor arrived at 10 o'clock, a young woman named Harper Delaney. He'd noticed her before. She was 25, always kind to the security guards, always humming softly while she worked. Once he'd seen her give her dinner to a homeless man outside the building. That night, he watched her carefully dust around family photos on his desk, treating each frame with gentle respect. She noticed him standing in the doorway and jumped. "Oh, Mr. Mitchell, I'm so sorry. I thought everyone had left. I can come back." "No, please," Grayson said quietly. I need to ask you something. It's going to sound strange." Harper set down her cleaning cloth, her warm brown eyes cautious but kind. Grayson took a breath. "My grandmother is dying. She doesn't know my wife and I divorced last week. Her final wish is to see me happily married, and I can't break her heart in her last days. I need someone to pretend to be my wife, just for a few weeks. I'll pay you $50,000. Harper's eyes widened. $50,000? "I know it's unusual. I know it's asking a lot. But I've watched you. You're kind, you're genuine. My grandmother would see through someone fake. But you're real." Harper's hands trembled. "Why would you trust me? You barely know me." "Because I've seen you give your food to strangers. I've heard you singing to yourself while you work, like you're trying to find joy in hard circumstances. That's the kind of person my grandmother would love." Harper looked down. I need that money. My younger brother, Mason, he's 17 and has diabetes. Our parents died 4 years ago in a house fire, and I've been raising him alone. His insulin costs are..." She stopped, fighting tears. "I worked 3 jobs just to keep him alive." Grayson's chest tightened. She was just like him, orphaned young, sacrificing everything for family. "Then help me," he whispered. "Help me give my grandmother peace, and I'll help you save your brother." Harper met his eyes. "Okay, I'll do it." The next day, Grayson brought Harper to the hospice where his grandmother lay. Eleanor was frail but alert, her eyes lighting up when she saw them. "Claire, darling," she whispered, reaching for Harper's hand. Harper glanced at Grayson, panicked, but he nodded gently. She took Eleanor's hand. "I'm so glad you're here," Eleanor said. "Grayson, she's even more beautiful than I remembered." "Thank you, Mrs. Mitchell," Harper smiled softly. Over the following days, Harper visited Eleanor daily. But something unexpected happened. She didn't just pretend. She genuinely cared. She read to Eleanor from her favorite books. She brushed her thin hair gently. She held her hand through painful treatments and told her stories about her own grandmother, who'd passed away when Harper was 12. Grayson watched from the doorway one evening as Harper sang an old lullaby to Eleanor, who'd been crying in pain. Eleanor's face relaxed, her breathing steadied. "You have an angel's heart," Eleanor whispered to Harper. "My grandson is blessed." Later, in the hospice hallway, Grayson found Harper crying quietly. "I'm sorry," she said, wiping her eyes. "It's just, she reminds me so much of my grandmother, and I know she's not really my family, but—" "She is," Grayson interrupted gently. "These past few days, you've given her more love than most blood relatives ever would. That makes you family." Harper looked up at him, tears streaming down her face. "I'm not doing this for the money anymore, Grayson. I'm doing it because she deserves to feel loved in her last days." Grayson's throat tightened. "Thank you. You've given her such peace." A week later, Eleanor passed away peacefully in her sleep, Harper holding one hand and Grayson holding the other. At the funeral, Autumn approached Harper. "Thank you for making Grandma's last days beautiful. She was so happy." "I was honored to know her," Harper said softly. After the funeral, Grayson handed Harper an envelope. "The $50,000, as promised, plus extra for everything you did beyond our agreement." Harper opened it. Inside was a check for $100,000. "Grayson, this is too much." "It's not nearly enough," he said. "You gave my grandmother dignity, love, and peace. You weren't acting. You genuinely cared for a dying woman you didn't know. That's the rarest thing in this world." Harper's eyes filled with tears. "She was easy to love." "So are you," Grayson said quietly. "These past 2 weeks, I've watched you showing more compassion, more genuine humanity than anyone I've ever met. You didn't just play a role, you opened your heart." He paused. Would you let me take you to dinner? A real dinner. I want to know you, Harper, really know you." Harper smiled through her tears. "I'd like that." Months later, Grayson helped Harper pay for Mason's medical treatments and education. He also hired her as his company's director of community outreach, where her natural kindness could change lives. They grew close slowly, carefully. He learned about her dreams of opening a community center. She learned about her fears of failing the people she loved. Their relationship wasn't built on contracts or pretending. It was built on mutual respect, shared loss, and the understanding that kindness is the truest form of wealth. One evening, visiting Eleanor's grave together, Harper squeezed Grayson's hand. "Do you think she knew," Harper asked softly, "that I wasn't really Claire?" Grayson smiled. "I think she knew exactly who you were. Someone with a heart big enough to love a stranger like family. That's all she ever wanted from me." Harper rested her head on his shoulder. "Sometimes the best things in life come from the most unexpected places. And sometimes," Grayson whispered, "the person you hire to pretend becomes the most real thing in your life."
In the end, wealth couldn't buy what mattered most, but kindness, freely given, opened doors that money never could.